Hello there, my name's Joe and welcome to my channel. Today I thought we'd take a look at a group of scripts that I found very useful, and they're from a technical author called, well, not quite sure how to pronounce it, but it's basically the word Python Gauss. So Python Gauss or something, I don't know. But anyway, but a very interesting and useful set of add-ons from this technical author. So what I think we'll do is, as always, we'll just do a quick go through of the installation. We'll then go to the GitHub page for the technical author. I'm not going to say that word again. And then I'll demo from my workflow here 5 of the add-ons that I'm using. So yeah, I think that's what we'll play around with today. So let's crack on. So for the installation, as usual, we can do that from the ComfyUI manager. So if we select manager and then select install custom nodes, let that open up, and then just come up into the search box, and then I would type, I'm going to type Python Go. I think that would give us enough to find our author. Yep, here we go. And we've got the ComfyUI custom scripts, which is what we're looking at today. If you click on this link here, this will take you to the GitHub page for this particular developer. So we need to install this. Once you do that, you need to do a restart of ComfyUI, and then we'll carry on from there. Okay, so we know how to install the custom scripts if you want to do that. Let's now take a quick look at the documentation associated with them. I'll put, of course, a link to this page in my comments, or you can access it as we just saw from the install nodes section in the ComfyUI manager. Okay, so we're on the documentation page. We have over here on the far left hand side, you can go to the, this will take you to the profile for the author. But as always, I'm going to just stick to this page, and we'll just have a flick down and have a look at some of the useful offerings on this this very good bunch of scripts. So I think in all there's around about 25, 26 different scripts that we can use. Always snap to grid is quite a nice one. I'll be showing you that in a moment. But there is really, I'll leave it to you to flick through these custom colors. We can finally change the colors of our nodes. That's a nice touch, and we'll run through that. That's on my list. Image feed. This is I found this thoroughly interesting, and I'll show you that in action as well. Lock nodes and groups. We'll go through that, and I think probably I just did one more than I did about 5. But there is, you can add images to the ComfyUI manager if you want. String function stuff. There's a lot here, and I think the last one, there was one on creating a sound when you've finished a particular task. That's useful to me, so we've got that as well. So yeah, now that we've had a very brief flick through the documentation, let's go across to my workflow, and I will run through 5 of the scripts taken from this this selection. So taking a look at my workflow today, you can see straight away that I've changed the colors on the nodes. I've made them particularly bright and garish, just to make them stand out for the benefit of this. But we'll go into how we can do that. On the left hand side here, we're seeing some images that I've generated today, which is part of the image feed. So we'll be looking at that. We'll look at the locking and the snap to grid, as I mentioned earlier. And you can see over here, we've got a node here that will play a sound when when this particular element, the previous element, has finished. So we'll go through these 5 bits now. So starting with always snap to grid, you can see here I've already activated this, and I'll show you in just a second how to do that. And so now if I just move these nodes very slightly, they will snap into the location. If I pull it, I'm left clicking and pulling now, you can see the shadow box behind it, which is the area that the node is going to snap to grid to. So you can control it from there. And there we go. So that's very useful, particularly if you're like myself, who spends endless time lining up nodes and things on your workflows. It's kind of OCD-ish, but I know lots of people have mentioned that we're all doing this. Anyway, so to activate always snap to grid, if we come across to the ComfyUI manager and click on the settings cogwheel, and then scroll right up to the top. At the very top, we've got always snap to grid. And then so you can either activate it or deactivate it if you don't like it. There we go. So that's the first one. With lock nodes and groups, we can now lock individual or groups of nodes on our workflow. So for instance, we've seen a moment ago that this one actually moves around, where they all move around. We can lock this in place, and all we need to do, right click on it and select lock. And now it's not going anywhere. Obviously to unlock, it will be the reverse. Here we go. And we're unlocked. Now we can lock groups of nodes. So, well, this one is selected. If I hold down my control key and select a couple more nodes, right click, and we've got lock, and we can lock those too. Very useful for when working, tidying up trying to keep your workflow tidy. I did notice it doesn't apply to notes. If I look on there, I can't lock my notes, but it's not a biggie. So yeah, so there is lock nodes and groups. Number 3 on my list is custom colors, and that allows us now to pretty much change the color of any of our nodes to anything we like. And to do that, all we need to do is simply right click on the node and come down to colors as we would normally. And you can see here that we've got the standard default colors that we all know and love. But below here now, we now have this custom option. If I open this up, and we can now select any color we like. So we're seeing the existing color, this shade of blue that we've got here. So we can either move it around there. We can locate our colors there, click into anywhere we want. We can set, if we know the color reference, we can put that in, or we can use the color sampler, which is absolutely great. So I did find using the sampler was not difficult, but I didn't seem to get it right a couple of times. So if I wanted, for instance, we were working on this one here, wasn't we? I want to change the color maybe more to sort of this color. Let's use the picker, and I'll just show you what works for me. So select the picker, and let's see if we can get the gold. Let's go for the gold. We'll select the gold, and then once I've done that, for me, I found that if I then click into the circle there again and then press return, that seemed to work for me. Sometimes if I didn't get it quite right, it would sort of close down, or I'd pretty much stuff it up, but that works. But you can pretty much have any color you like, and that's a nice little touch, make your workflows a little bit more interesting. So that's the custom colors. Oh, just one more point I nearly forgot to mention while we're looking at the custom colors. So one thing I did find is, and this one here is perhaps quite a good example, is that with some of the colors, it's very difficult to read the text and you can't change that in any way. However, if I highlight the node, the text is easier to read, but when it's not highlighted, it's quite difficult. Now, the only way I could find around that was when I was, if I go back into colors, go back to my custom colors, we've got the color that I've selected here. I did find that if I chose a darker variant of that color, it may make the text a bit easier to read. So let's select that one now, and if I deselect, it's a little bit easier to read, but it's still quite difficult. So with this gift of choice of colors, which is really lovely, it does become more difficult in some cases to read the text on them, particularly for brighter colors. If you use more subdued colors, it does tend to stand out more. So I'll just mention that in passing. Okay, so what's next? We did custom colors. Let's move on to image feed. So moving on to image feed, I found this a fascinating little add-on. So basically what we can do is in your workflow, as you generate images, those images will be added to this image feed, which we can see here. So that's fine. But the strength of these things are each of these images, you can drag it. If you drag the image back onto the workflow, it will re-input the settings of that image into your nodes. So this is a very easy and quick way of making comparisons. So for instance, for each of these examples that I've made here, I've changed the prompt very slightly. I've changed the numbers of steps in the CFG slightly. And I can now, if I want to, flick between these images to see what the differences were. So we're on this image here, which is at the top here. All I've did on the prompt, I've been changing the colors involved, but 6 steps and 3 CFG. If I pull this picture across, instantly the colors will have changed in the prompt here, and we're at 5 and 2.5 CFG. So very nice for very quick comparisons. I find this quite a handy little tool. Quite like this. Up here we have resizing. I couldn't find that there is a scroll bar on this. So if you increase the size of your images in the feed, for instance there, can I scroll down? Oh no, there is a scroll bar. I didn't see that earlier, so forget what I just said, that there is a scroll bar. So you can set, in fact, let's make this a bit bigger down, because I didn't realize that we could, when I looked earlier, I couldn't find scroll bar. There is, it's great. So that's super. So yeah, so just drag it across and you'll get all the information, prompt information, config added on, and so you can then make further adjustments and work on from there. The only thing I did find about this, and I don't know if it's in intended behavior or not, is that if I make a change to my workflow, say I change the color, let's do one. I'm going to change the color of this node first. So we'll go down to the colors. I'm just going to stick to a generic color. Okay, so I've changed this color here. Now I'm going to generate a new image. So let's go for blue and black. I'm not sure if I did blue and black already, but it doesn't matter. blue and black. I'm going to change steps to 6. And I'm going to change CFG to 3. And I'm now going to generate a new image. So let's select QPrompt. And we'll just give that a moment. And what I'm expecting to happen while we wait for this to generate is when I flick now, if I was to look at, if I want to compare between different images, it will also bring across the workflow. So I'm not really explaining this really well, but you'll see in a moment when this is finished that the setup of the workflow is also copied across, not just the settings. So that is a little bit unusual. Okay, so try and explain this a little bit better now. It wasn't particularly clear what I've just said. So we now have this image here and on this adjusted workflow. Now, I want to go back and have a look at what my settings were on this image. So I'll pull that across and see how the workflow has gone back to what it was. So it's not just saving the settings on the nodes, it's actually saving the whole of the workflow as well. Now that may be intended or may not be. It's not a biggie. It's only noticeable for people like me who keep messing about with the workflows. Whilst I'm doing stuff, I'm always doing it. I'm always moving my stuff around. So it doesn't just copy across the settings, it's the workflow as well. But if you're not adjusting your workflow, you wouldn't even notice it. But I just mentioned that in passing because when I first saw it, I couldn't quite work out what was happening. But I think this is really, really quite useful for quick comparisons. I quite like this. So there you go. So that is image feed. Oh, and if you don't want to use it, you can clear down the images that you've got in the feed, or you can get rid of it. Clicking the X, it's gone. However, you change your mind, you want to bring it back again, you'll see here now you've got a little image icon in your ComfyUI menu, and you bring it back. So if you don't need it, get rid of it. But there you go. So image feed. And so just to finish off, we have play sound, which is a node. To locate it, quickest way I found, just double left click and just type in sound, and then you've got it. And what I did with this one, so this obviously just plays a sound whenever the previous node is finished. What I did on here, let me just highlight that again. Here you can see that I've got the VAE decode and save image grouped together. But actually, so the play sound is actually connected to the VAE decode. So once the VAE decode has finished decoding, so it's then going to just about immediately generate the image, the sound goes off. Now you can add, I believe, I haven't done it yet, but you can add your own sounds. You can adjust this there, but you would need to put your sound in the correct location. And what I did, there is in the documentation, it shows the location of where that file is, that notify.mp3 file is. That didn't match where it is on my setup. So all I did was I did a search on notify.mp3 in my ComfyUI and found where that file is located. And if I want to put in a different sound instead, that's where I would drop that file. So yeah, so I can kick off a job and go and do the dishes, whatever, and this is going to make a noise when it's finished, which is quite nice. And you can, as you can see here, you can let me just get rid of that. You can adjust the volume as well, which is quite handy. So yeah, so that's 5 scripts, but as I say, there's about 25, 26 different things in this suite of scripts from this author. Very useful. If you're interested, these images that I've been using here, this is a genre called Nuka Cola Poster, and this is just part of a project I'm working on with posters. But I'll add a link. I've been using for these images. These were done using Dream Shaper XL, and I'll send a link to the original image that I started off generating these from, just in case you're interested. So there you go. So I hope you found this useful. Thank you very, very much for your time, and have a good day. Goodbye.